Let's send bodhicitta first. All sentient beings, for the sake of profit, please send this supreme bodhicitta. We will continue to talk about the heart energy today. It was supposed to be yesterday, and it was a preview that said it was about the cattle ranch map. Then I thought about it later. It seems that the relationship between the sixth sense and the eighth sense is not mentioned, so this cattle ranch map can only be viewed later. Can you say one last thing? In fact, cattle ranch map, we talked about it last year. It's been said many times in last year's video, but maybe this year, maybe it's a little different. So we'll still talk about cattle ranch map at that time. The relationship between the sixth and eighth senses and their characteristics, this is the most basic thing in the whole heart energy. So if you don't understand, or if you don't particularly understand, then the whole heart energy system will come. It's hard to understand. Let's see the world. Look at your own troubles. It doesn't work. Including us now in our little team, but I use this every day. Heart energy, including mutual ridicule. We talk about this sixth sense at every turn, especially this relationship between obedience and confrontation. Let's review again. We say that the sixth sense is the explicit consciousness of the present time and space. It's several characteristics. The first is that it's something we can be aware of. This is also proof that we are alive, right? We can be aware, and it looks like I'm in charge. It looks like I'm making decisions about everything. I can be on time for class today. I couldn't yesterday. Because there's a lot of things, right? It looks like it's all up to you. After talking about this obedience and confrontation, we will understand it's not really up to you. Or you have a hard time calling the shots. For example, why can you decide today? Because you have to protect me again today. You don't want to be criticized by your master. You don't want to be criticized by Mr. Long. What is this maintenance? This is to protect me. So you can do it today, come to class on time. Yesterday, why didn't you come to class on time? It's alright. It doesn't matter if I go back later, class. Then you got criticized. You didn't expect to be criticized, so you didn't come on time, right? Now they're being criticized. No, this has to protect me. I can't be criticized. Let me tell you something. If we analyze it carefully, after we finish today's class, let's see if people feel this way. Most of the decisions you make in your life, it's not you, us, making the decision at all. So let's move on. We say that the sixth sense has the first characteristic. He is something we can be aware of. Let's think, I'm alive. This is the first one. Second, we say he is the king in the present time and space of the world. It was actually ministers, servants, instrumentalists, execution machines. The sixth sense is an execution machine, an executive machine of the eighth sense, a tool man, but we thought it was me. We used a lot of stuff yesterday to say, this view is wrong. If it were really me, you just change your mind. It executes, but this idea just can't be implemented. We will also discuss some examples next. What is the third characteristic? It's fragmented. Resting, fragmentary, hopping, fragmented, a jump, a jump, a jump. What is the root cause of these jumps? The fundamental reason is that it cannot decide for itself. If it can make its own decisions, example 1, you sit here. You say, I want to enter meditation. You should be able to meditate. Example 2, who do you say you want to be nice to? You can be nice to anyone. Example 3, what time do you say I have to get up in the morning? What time can you get up? Summary, what did you say you were going to do? He can do anything, but it doesn't call the shots at all. There is a hidden boss behind it. I've been giving him instructions for a long time. Therefore, we are not in charge of ourselves. It's the sixth senses manifestation is, it's going to take care of that. I'll deal with that one later. It was jumping. So that's the third characteristic. It jumps. This is a very important characteristic of the spirit. Fourth characteristic, it can be corrected very quickly. It can be corrected quickly, that we can train it, but this training, you can change it now, but it'll change back later. Now, what are you feeling? I'll tell you a truth now. You seem to understand. I will put it in the future. Listening comes first, priority, come to class on time, but you can do it today, not necessarily tomorrow, or something else happens in the blink of an eye. He ran away again. A lot can happen in 50 minutes. Okay, you seem to be in charge. Actually, not at all. Few people can stop running in 50 minutes. Why did you run? Because your life is basically, it's hard to make your own decisions. Fourth, it can be equipped with quick correction. Because it's fleeting, piece by piece. Although the sixth sense is the tool machine of the eighth sense, the execution machine, but it is actually still the magic spell of the eighth sense. You know the magic spell, right? The eighth sense characteristics that span time and space, for example, my love or hate. I met this guy and I liked him. I just want to be nice to him. But you're good. You must also conform to the rules of the present time and space. So here's an example. Some women or some men, when I meet him, her, I want to marry this person. However, that person already has or has a family, the sixth sense, or what? He has to conform to the rules of this time and space. Do you want to marry him again? You can only wait. You can't marry two at the same time, or marry two each, right? The rules of this time and space, the sixth sense, do not allow it. The past was allowed. In the past, as long as you could. The so-called age of marrying 3 wives and 4 concubines, or something else. In some parts of Africa, a woman can have many husbands. You can under a certain time and space rule, but in this time and space you can't. You want to marry him again? He has a family. He still has to file for divorce first. So what? This is an example I gave. We talk about the sixth sense. Although the sixth sense is the execution machine of the eighth sense, it is the tool of the eighth sense, but it is also a magic spell of the eighth sense. And you've got to realize that this is the situation of the confrontation between the sixth sense and the eighth sense. Let's talk about its 5 characteristics. I've already said 5. The sixth is the most core one, the most fundamental one. Yes, there is such a possibility through our present sixth sense to change the karma and habits of the eighth sense. This is entirely possible, and there was more than one person in human history. It's such a group of people, a bunch of people did it. Therefore, this is a feature that all of us practitioners must be aware of. That is, if you are really determined to practice, then did you repair the quantity? Is there any result? It depends on whether you have improved your eighth sense. Through your sixth sense, through the guidance of this holy teaching, go for a real makeover. Don't let him out anymore. No longer let the eighth sense rely entirely on one's own karmic habits. Execute instructions in the present time and space. This is some of the characteristics of our sixth sense. So what are the characteristics of the eighth sense that we just talked about? The characteristic of the eighth sense is that it is, first of all, invisible, hidden. We can't touch it. It's hard to be detected, but that's not to say we can't detect it. If you have a good teacher, and you are also willing to learn the truth of life, the experience of your life, or some beliefs from the past, make you willing to understand the truth of life, it just takes a few simple pointers. You can perceive the existence of the eighth sense. We're going to talk a little bit about the relationship between resignation and confrontation. The sixth sense versus the eighth sense, obedience or opposition. Once our sixth sense confronts our eighth sense, we can detect it. We talk about the characteristics of the eighth sense. The first one is hidden. The second one is that it is constantly outputting. The constant is controlling our sixth sense. The eighth sense has always been the king. The eighth sense is the king. The sixth sense is the courtier. The sixth sense is something we can perceive. I was thinking, I am making a decision. I'm making a choice. The eighth sense is the hidden king, hidden characteristic, so it is difficult for it to be recognized by the world. As we said yesterday, Western psychology identifies it as subconscious, tacit consciousness, the real me, the id, the God me, emotional thinking. We talked about several reasons yesterday. First, they are not converted disciples, not a disciple of the 3 jewels. So they prefer to use worldly methods to create their own set of theories. However, Western psychology, to a large extent, were influenced by the epistemological part. There's a lot of research on this in history. Every time some knowledge of dimension is transmitted to the West, Western psychology has had some breakthroughs. This is very obvious. We have a lot of such evidence. So we say his second characteristic is to hide. The third is that the eighth sense, is constantly outputting export karma habits, export seeds, realized as the fruit of the present time and space. But at the same time, it is constantly collecting everything in the present moment as a new seed. So he called it the smoked root body device. So this Xuanzang master has a verse saying, eighth sense, how Sanzang cannot be impoverished. The 7 waves in the depths of the abyss are the wind. The plant is smoked and holds the root body. Go and be the Lord first. I'm probably also speaking according to these characteristics. The fourth characteristic is also the final echo of the sixth consciousness, that it can indeed be transformed. Our souls, our past tense karmic habits, seemingly untouchable, invisible. However, because of its relationship with quantum entanglement of the sixth sense, it's quantum entanglement coming to our left brain to influence us. Of course, we can think of it, the eighth sense, as affecting the right brain first, then the right hemisphere passes to the left hemisphere to influence our current time and space judgments. This quantum equation, influence, but because it's quantum, so once we get the hang of it, we can also pass through here, the left brain, the sixth sense, to guide and transform the other party, the eighth sense. But that requires you to really recognize it first. Then there is the right way. We come back here. Why do we speak of the sixth and eighth senses? Can someone answer me? Why are we talking about these two things? Why tell the truth about this life? The existence of this sixth and eighth sense. What is our purpose? Our goal is not to say a little more knowledge. The first one, all the troubles of our lives, it's all in the relationship between the two. Once we know these two, most of the confusion in our lives, the confusion of all the actions of the world, the purpose is to unravel the confusion of one's own reality, get rid of worries. This is the first one. The second is that we want to break the phase, break through the thick fog of this world. Remember that we are all just actors of karma. We are just tools. In your lifetime, whether you have a successful career, you have unsuccessful careers, do you have a happy family or an unhappy family? It is all a manifestation of karma, the eighth sense. We need to increase that intelligence. It is to understand the truth of real life. Once we understand, we are fascinated by the rarity of this period of human life. Generate great confidence. After a great deal of confidence, many illusions of the world we know is just karmic evolution. We develop a belief, I don't want these things anymore, or I'm just going with it. What appears on the fruit, I accept whatever. As long as I don't die, these are no big deal. Okay? This eighth sense is the king, right? He hides, hidden above in high dimensional space. It's called go first, the latest to go. We're out of breath. He just left. Come first. This fertilized egg of ours, he came as soon as they united. If this eighth sense does not come, the fertilized egg becomes a stillborn. He can't really grow up. It is because of such a wisp of divine consciousness. The eighth sense, with such a soul, the fertilized egg became a human being. So it's called go and be the Lord first. He, the eighth sense, is the boss. He is the real master. So the sixth sense is the present time and space. The eighth sense comes from across time and space. One is the real boss, the eighth sense. One is the minister below, the sixth sense. It is the actual executor of the moment. We had an example yesterday. This is the local boss, the local mayor, the local clerk, chief. The above, the eighth sense, is the king. The sixth sense seems to be in control of the moment. But in fact, it is all under the command of this boss, the eighth sense. Why is this? We're going to start here. The world loves dichotomies. Okay? Right and wrong, beauty and ugliness, good and bad. In our lives, the relationship between the two, what are the two main types of relationships? He only has two relationships here. One is called confrontation. Your thing does not correspond to the present time and space. Let's take an extreme example. There is such a story. During the Southern Song Dynasty, Lingyan Temple at the West Lake, there is a team of officers and soldiers. After entering Lingyuan Temple, suddenly, one of them was an 18-year-old recruit. He raised his gun and pointed at the abbot of Lingyan Temple in Westlake at that time. Poked in the past, it was stabbed in one fell swoop. The crowd was shocked and grabbed him. After holding on, he asked the abbot, "Why?" "It doesn't matter." The abbot said, "You are from two worlds, so you don't know it. But I am a human being in one world, so I know." He said, "I killed you 18 years ago. So 18 years later, today, as soon as we met, this fate was ripe. Revenge, this fate is ripe." The abbot said, "Come, take my life away. We have paid a debt." This abbot monk killed someone 18 years ago because of this. They also have lifelong grievances. After killing the opponent, he fled and finally became a monk. The soldier is smart. When he heard it, he realized in his heart, he slapped the barrel of the gun there. He said, "When is the time for revenge?" He stood the pole there. Stand and go, passed away. Then this great monk of Lingyan Temple, a Buddhist named Amitabha, good is good. He said, "I'll protect you." He crossed his legs and left. Good roots are so incredible. Many people have seen this story firsthand. So this story is widely circulated true. What we just said is that the sixth sense is the magic spell of the eighth sense. The eighth sense, even if this person is the enemy who killed himself in his previous life, in the current time and space, you can't do this either. Kill the other party directly. This is the confinement spell binding on the present temporal and spatial rules of karmic habits. We are talking about extreme examples. Some come to repay. Due to the rules of the time and space, he couldn't repay his kindness, such as directly becoming a servant. It must also follow the rules of this present time and space. So here's what we see. Some people are even very jerks, very bad, judging by worldly standards of value, but he still has no shortage of fans such as Sima Nan and Zhang Weiwei. So we said, this is it. This world is the rules of current time and space. Even if our eighth sense carries something very strong karma, you still have to follow the rules of the present time and space. Now he has his own rules. The eighth sense ignores the rules of this time and space. Like that new recruit, he met this monk. Just like this one killed him with a gun, if we remember such a history, remember these stories, and the understanding goes a lot deeper. We say that the sixth sense is the magic spell of the eighth sense. He decided that you have to follow the rules of the present time and space, otherwise you will be severely punished. But we said, the sixth sense and the eighth sense's confrontation is very common. Our example is simple. Everyone asks themselves, your brothers and sisters, including us and our business partners, any relationship with us, he is actually all about this karmic relationship. Relationships are a manifestation of karma, confrontation situations. And as I say in this book, I was supposed to do something like lose weight, but I just couldn't stop wanting to eat. This fat will never be reduced. I should have quit smoking, quit betel nut, quit drugs, but I just can't quit. I should obviously get up early in the morning and exercise, get up and exercise, but I just can't get up. I'm supposed to love my parents and my brothers and sisters. However, it is difficult, very difficult. So I should have done it, but I couldn't. This is a confrontational relationship. The laws of the world, the sixth sense, tell me, I should do this, I should do that. The laws of the world, the sixth sense, tell us, you should have a good relationship with the leader. You should have a good relationship with colleagues. You should get along with other people. I should have listened carefully, but I can't always do it. Why is that? It's an adversarial situation. We can get through this confrontation. It causes inner torn and annoyance, and then discovers the existence of the sixth and eighth sense. In adversarial relationships, you succeed. You are the real master. If you really want to know that you are alive, you should succeed in the confrontation. This is the only one you have. The true proof of being alive in this life, talking about the morning glory of Zen, who is the shepherd boy. We should live according to the sixth sense. The sixth sense is a shepherd boy, or should you live according to the eighth sense? The eighth sense is a shepherd boy. If our standard has been unclear, it's very troublesome. Very troublesome. In fact, essentially, you will only live according to your eighth sense. And we say that the eighth sense is always reincarnated, go last, come first, and be the Lord. It's always reincarnating. As long as you don't feel that reincarnation is painful, that's okay. But your life is not miserable now. It does not mean that the following reincarnation is not bitter. For example, you can go and see those cows plowing a field, go see those on the high mountains, mules and horses carrying heavy loads. The enslaved animals, due to the suffering of animals, mainly in ignorance and slavery. But sometimes people think, when a cow, especially a yak in Tibet, it's pretty good, it's pretty laid back, basically not beaten in his life, he was not scolded. I don't make any business either. Just eat some grass. Animal Tao is, after all, being led by bad karma. The next three, example, you make a decision. For example, Xinyi, a person name, came in at 1:53 yesterday. Live broadcast starts at 1:30. Xinyi thought to himself, it's okay if I come in later. Why have you come to that conclusion? Why did you come to the conclusion that it's okay if I come in later? Thoughts eventually turn into actions. Xinyi must have judged in her heart. Should I try my best to enter the live stream on time? Then you will find that many things cannot be decided, so she can't enter the live stream on time. We say that when the sixth sense makes a decision to obey without the trouble of confrontation, it is all making excuses for the eighth sense. The eighth sense, based on karma and habits, has already chosen a decision. I'm not sure if anyone has seen this video. In the United States, there have been deep psychological experiments that demonstrate that 3 seconds before any of your decisions, a decision is already formed in a certain area of the brain. They have found out 3 seconds ago, one region has already made that decision. That's 3 seconds of thought. It's all false. leaving the sixth sense with the false appearance of thinking and making decisions. And these 3 seconds are precisely the process that we humans can perceive making decisions. Our decisions are actually made for you by the karma and habits of the 8th sense, and the current 6th sense are just the 8th sense's laborer. The 6th sense has collected countless evidence of the present time and space for the 8th sense. Again, all decisions of obedience, no perceived annoyance. The 6th sense is collecting evidence and reasons for the 8th sense. This viewpoint must be carefully observed by everyone. We say that when you often see the 6th sense opposing the 8th sense, you begin to enter the shallow waters of your practice. If you don't even see this adversarial relationship very often, then you are very industrious. Your whole life almost, there is no way to truly see your own life. We are saying that there is no good route. The crack in life is to give you such a big opening. It's a big hole, you can't even see it. What's more, the cracks of life, it is usually a very narrow crack. You need someone to lead you. Someone needs to tear this crack open for you. We can only see the truth of life. If we observe with opposition and obedience, when you see that the 6th sense and the 8th sense often confront each other, and you are determined to change, for example, I want to practice well, I wanted to learn something new, I want to change. I want to get some exercise. I want to achieve a healthier body. I'm going to change one of my habits. You used to wake up at 7 o'clock. You wake up tomorrow at 5:00. You can feel the confrontation. You didn't have a good relationship with your father or mother in the past, or your siblings, or your wife, or your children. You go to somebody who you're really upset with, and you decide today to change that. You say, I'm going to give him all my goodness now. Go to him, and then you say, I'm going to give him my favorite thing, my most cherished thing. And you can see this adversarial relationship. If you see this adversarial relationship, you begin to enter the shallow waters of your practice. If you don't see it, you don't call it practice. You're just conforming our lives. If you don't feel torn, basically this life is to work for the karma and habits of the previous life. This sentence is basically tenable. Just divide the confrontation into 1. There are 2 types of obedience: conscious obedience, unrecorded obedience. There's something called conscious obedience. It's just that I've thought about it. I thought about it, the conclusion I made consciously. There is also unconscious obedience. For example, eating. I got it. I eat everything. Or walk. Or go to the toilet urgently. That's all meticulous obedience. You don't even have time to think. Or some are stress-like reactions. If your habit is for someone to scold you, you immediately swore back. Similarly, if someone scolds you, you immediately push back. But another person, someone you feel close, scolds you, you may think he's a friendly gesture, so I won't scold him back. This statement dominates our behavior by the 8th sense. These are all unrecorded obedience. Wait until you realize that the 6th sense is competing with the 8th sense. You begin to enter the shallow waters of your practice. When you become aware of the conscious obedience of the 6th sense to the 8th sense, your practice has entered deep waters. When you start to break through to the memorable obedience situation, you are aware of every word and deed. Every word you say, you are aware of it. Your practice has entered a very subtle stage. This is to see the depth of our practice from the relationship between the 6th and 8th senses. If you are currently in pain, congratulations, you have entered the shallow waters of cultivation. What you are looking for is a correct practice. Then implement this practice. If you have been living happily, rarely torn, that can basically be judged. You haven't practiced yet. You are just enjoying the blessing. If you are in great pain, it may not be spiritual practice. It's just your karma that makes you feel pain. I'm talking about conscious pain. Your pain is just that the karmic blessing of the past is too weak. You have come to suffer so much. Therefore, at this moment, you need to follow your fate, which is very important. This will be discussed later in connection with cause and effect. Summary. So today's focus, it is to explain the characteristics and relationships between the 6th and 8th senses. The relationship between the two begins with the understanding of confrontation. I saw it online. The vast majority of people are at this stage. Worry and pain, more or less, this is not important. Most of them are at a stage where they are just aware of this confrontation and they have not even felt it yet. I don't know about adversarial relationships because I haven't gotten started yet. After getting started, I saw this adversarial relationship. We began to enter the shallow waters of our practice. This is very important. The 8th sense is not in our present time and space. The 8th sense, the king, has given us the 6th sense and order. Come, find me some reasons to support this behavior. This instruction is implicit. You can't hear the sound, but I can. If you believe in the sixth sense and the eighth senses, and you're often looking with your sixth and eighth senses, this set of tools can simplify social phenomena, can make everyone, you can see yourself clearly, see the world clearly. This is a simplified version of the most basic tool, but it's very useful and it should be useful for life. Summary. After we master the sixth and eighth senses characteristics, you should often think, experience, and perceive the sixth and eighth senses and start with adversarial relationships. To perceive this adversarial relationship, once you perceive this adversarial relationship, congratulations, you have started to enter the training area. Here's the thing. Can you break free from your worries and pains? Can you break free from the karmic web of reincarnation? Can you know if this person is extremely valuable? Do not despise this person. Don't exchange it for thousands of gold coins. Give you this person. It is better than giving you any wealth in the world. Any position, even the position of a king, such as the position of US President Trump, you don't change. If one day you understand to this extent, you give me a billionaire, Musk's wealth has given me the opportunity to change my life, you don't want to change. When did you reach this level? Then your life is opened a whole new chapter. Your life, your soul begins to be released. You will feel the blessing of the higher dimensional forces. Your understanding of life will be completely different. The material world can no longer hold you back. We often use Zelensky as an example because he is a contemporary saint and the champion of Ukraine, Shevchenko. He is worth $100 million and now has $100 million in savings. The Russo-Ukrainian war began. He immediately took off these belt costumes of the boxing champion and immediately threw himself into the battlefield. He himself left a message. If I die, please donate this 100 million directly to the country. Do you think that 100 million is not enough to make him live better than us in any corner of the world? But why did people, Zelensky, Shevchenko, etc. choose this way? This is the difference between a person with a soul and someone without one. We're not saying there's no soul. Everyone has a soul. The crux of the matter is whether you can feel its power. Can you really feel the soul-level life? No substance can be exchanged with you. Zelensky has set an example. Shevchenko, the champion, has a 16-time gold belt and a 100 million deposit. People have made a choice. These are living examples. You don't need to read the biographies of eminent monks. You don't have to read myths. These people live by your side. If you still don't believe this, there are soul-level lives. What can I say, right? We will always have the eye of the frog in the well. To understand and explain everything in the world, it doesn't make sense, understand? Perceive the soul. If we don't live the soul life, we actually live a very miserable life. If you were given a chance, there is no need for you to pay $100 million, no need for you to go to war. You can live the life of a noble soul. Would you like to have it? Well, it's time. Today's class is coming to an end again. Back. May this merit solemn the Buddha's pure land. Report quadruple favor. Alright, give all the merits to all sentient beings in the world so that they can be free from suffering and rejoice. I wish you all good luck.